Connecticut has thousands of miles of roads, including interstates, routes, and local roads. And now imagine being taxed for every single mile you drive your car down those roads. Our News 8 report last night about that potential new state tax to help pay for the governor's huge transportation plan set off a firestorm on the internet. We have been hearing about this all day. Chief political correspondent Mark Davis broke the story last night. He's live with more on the reaction and where that mileage tax is already being tested. Mark.
That's right. Hi, Darren. Good evening, everyone from the Hartford newsroom. The governor's Transportation Finance Board, or panel, has not really decided what it's going to recommend as ways to pay for the governor's big transportation rebuild plan. But right now they're looking at other states for funding ideas that could work. For raising money, the beauty of a mileage tax, as opposed to tolls, is that it would spread the cost across all drivers, not just those who chose a particular highway.
I think it's something we want to look at. It's, you know, the technology is still being piloted and developed and studied, but it could be very efficient.
The governor's panel is watching the state of Oregon, where a pilot or test program is already underway. Volunteer drivers are paying a tax on the number of miles they drive as measured by GPS, and they get credit against the state gas tax. But even with this explanation, people we spoke with today are overwhelmingly opposed to the idea.
I have a problem with it because I think that we're already taxed enough in this state.
I don't like it. You know, it's just another administrative burden that they're going to have to, you know, deal with.
I would say that's a little excessive. We already have a bunch of taxes in the state of Connecticut.
Reaction on WTNH.com was a bit more blunt, but also contained some important points. Millie wrote, "So the blue-collar workers who have to live far away from the white-collar towns they work at could be taxed extra, simply because they cannot afford to live closer to their jobs." And Pete, who wrote, "So glad my car is registered out of state. I read a story on these types of mileage taxes, and they don't apply to out-of-state vehicles." And Kev, who suggests, "Up the gas tax. It's the exact same thing as a mileage tax without the cost and complexity." The governor's office was steering clear of this discussion today, but the chairman of his special panel says they have no choice given how much money the transportation projects will cost.
If you look at the sheer magnitude of the project costs of $100 billion, there's no question you need a whole range of revenue options on the table. No one of them is going to solve the problem.
Now, as we reported last night, this panel has to move pretty quickly now as they need to make their recommendations on the best ways to pay for all of this transportation rebuild by October, and then the governor has to sell it to the public and to the business community and to state lawmakers. Live from the Hartford newsroom, Mark Davis, News 8.